You all know Marc Faber has been calling for a crash in the market for years, and he said this, though, on our air just last week about the sell-off.
The market is very oversold now and can rebound meaningfully anytime soon.
And he was absolutely right, because stocks roared back just after he made those comments. In fact, David Asman is giving Marc Faber the credit for that amazing reversal last week. So does the gloom, boom, and doom report publisher think today is a buying opportunity? Marc, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
Listen, I love it when notorious bears become bullish and bulls become bearish, because I think those are ultimate signals. And what made you think that this last week and even now was the time to sort of change your mind and go long?
No, a week ago, the market became very oversold because on one day, I think it was Tuesday a week ago or Wednesday, we had over 1,000 new 12-month lows on the New York Stock Exchange and over 600 new one-year lows on the NASDAQ. These are very high figures and indicate a very oversold position. But I also pointed out at the time I do not expect new highs. And after a sharp rebound, which we had over 100 points on the S&P, that the market would again drift lower. And I think we have reached some kind of a tipping point, because the market has moved sideways for essentially the last 12 months. And this year, when the crash really happened, we were 2% lower on the S&P year to date.
Right.
We were down 13% for the transportation index. So the internals of the market have been weak, and we have now the realization, which I argued about for a long time, that the Chinese economy was decelerating far more than all the optimistic fund managers and strategists were predicting.
So then, Marc, where do we go from here? I mean, are we going to retest the lows that were established last week? Or do you think China will find a way to turn this around, whether even if it takes something as extraordinary as finding another 2 trillion yuan or something like that?
Look, an economy like China is not like a car where you just drive around the corner. The Chinese economy cannot be stimulated meaningfully for the time being. It will take time. Like other central banks, they can address symptoms of the weakness in the economy, but they cannot cure the cause. And this is the great fallacy of central banking. They have addressed symptoms, but not the causes of the meaningful slowdown in the global economy after 2007.
Well, essentially, I'm just going to, use your cold analogy. For the most part, we don't have a cure for the common cold, and we just have to let it run its course. So you're essentially saying, listen, all of these central banks and other forms of government meddling are just a waste of time. They create more risk, and ultimately, you just got to let these things run their course?
Correct. It would be much better.
Having said that, why is our stock market down so much on bad news out of China? It seems at this point, perhaps, an overreaction.
I explain to you. You look at the announcements of Caterpillar Tractor, United Technology, car manufacturers. They have a large exposure to China. And when the Chinese economy slows down, what really drove their growth, namely capital spending in China and consumption in China, slows down. And so in July, car sales in China were down 7% year on year.
Okay.
And smartphone watches were down. The Chinese economy has also an indirect impact on the U.S. economy.
Okay.
Because it drove commodity prices higher until 2008. The resource producers of the world became wealthy, and they spent a lot of money importing goods. But now, as you know, commodity prices have collapsed because of the Chinese slowdown. And so these countries, including Brazil, African countries, Central Asia, Middle East, they have less money.
Right.
So they also buy less goods from the U.S.
So essentially, we had the flash crash, the flash rebound that you predicted. And now we're back to your central theme, which, by the way, is actually working. You know, you've been right and you're spot on. We're coming down. Brazil's in recession. Canada is in recession. And America's holding on by a thread. Marc, we love having you on. Appreciate when you give us those quick buying opportunities as well.
Thank
We'll have
you
you
very
soon.
much.